Hello and welcome to Weekly Wednesdays. This is my weekly video for you. And it's been a while since I've been on. Had some things in life that happened. Life happens, right? Oh, we do our best to keep up. But I'm back. I'm good. I'm back. And so it means you're back, and welcome to this weekly video. Today's topic is emotions. I think about this topic a lot because for many years, since I was kind of a young adult, probably for 30 years, 35 years easily, I've been doing a lot of work around my emotions. And I've learned a lot about how I think about them, what I do with them, how I judge or not judge them. And yeah, so there's a lot, to think about. And one of the things I think about a lot is that, I think a lot of times, let's see, one of the things that I think is common for a lot of people around emotions is that we worry when things get too emotional. Like I've seen people apologize if they get emotional or worry about it. And we all have different experiences, right, with emotions. When we were younger, if we showed emotions, depending on your family or your environment around you, people reacted to you having emotions. And so that plays a factor for sure. If you're not aware of what those things are, or even if you are aware, it's not just awareness, right? Like there's usually some healing to do. Just around the simple fact of having emotions, right? But it's a human thing. It's a human thing to have them. And I think there's a few human reasons for them. One of the reasons I think we have emotions is to heal. That there's a natural process that happens. If we're sad, we cry. Even our happy emotions, right? If we're happy, we get excited. We exude our joy, right? And if we are upset or angry, we might, there's like a physical sort of release that comes with emotions that I think is healthy and I think it's natural. And I think that, like I said, there's just different ways that comes in when we show that. And so I think that's one of the things. It's meant for us to heal from things when they happen, right? Like if something happens, even like if we hurt our finger, and we cry, I think the crying's part of the healing process. Now we have these stories that happen, right? We have all these stories that are connected to our emotions. And I think in the world today, there's sort of common phrasing about, in some circles, right, about having emotions and letting them move through you. And I don't know what that means to you. To me, it means letting the emotions come up and go. And the part that you can sort of tweak is not going into your head and like going into a whole story, but really just letting the emotions have their whatever they need to do, right? If it's tears or anger or shaking or whatever it is, right? But I think there's a confusion around sometimes when we see people have emotions or when we have emotions. I think sometimes instead of thinking of it as, oh, this is getting out of me and this is a healing of whatever is bothering me, that we connect it to the actual hurt, like to the thing, that the emotion is considered like the pain. And I don't think the emotion is the pain. I think the emotion is actually the healing of the pain, or whatever it is. And so that's my perspective, and it's the perspective that I've sort of operated from for many, many, many years. I think the other thing that happens is that people get scared, right? Like we can have really big emotions, and you see people get really angry, or, fear can make you do crazy things, right? Like some people get scared and they don't take action. Some people get scared and they take overaction. People get mad and they get violent with the mad. I don't think they're the same thing, but right? So like we see people with big emotions, and that can be really scary. And I think that, what do I want to say about that? Yeah, big emotions can be scary. So I think that gets in the way too. It's sort of like, oh no, like we can't let that happen. And I think that there's we don't have a lot of resource for that. I think we can have big emotions, and I think we can make containers for each other to have those big emotions and not have to act on them. And that's the other thing that happens. That's why they get scary, because people have emotions and then they take some action based on the emotion, rather than just having the emotion, right? Or the feelings. And so, which kind of brings me to one other thing I wanted to say is that, ultimately, I really think that feelings are just feelings. There's all the story that's connected to them, or the action is, not necessarily what they're for. So there's all of that. And sometimes emotions can really inform us, right? So this is a good example of, so for me, when I am doing something that is actually not something I really want to be doing, or it's not in line with, like sort of my overall flow of what I want my life to be, right? And I'm doing this activity or something like that, I will get tense. I will get sort of like upset and tense in like little ways when I'm in this activity. And what I've learned is that is like this signal to me. This getting upset is like, because it's a little irrational to be getting upset about something that I've chosen to do. But if it's something that I've chosen to do, maybe out of, I feel like I should, or I have to, or some sort of obligation to something, then if it's not really the right thing for me to be doing, I can get that little like tension going. And I've learned that that's actually like this, oh, okay, something's not right here for me. I don't know what it is. And I have to think about it. And then maybe I take an action. But in the moment, it's just sort of like a signal. It's a signal. And if I can see it as such, then I go, okay, I've got to look at the bigger picture here and see what's happening. And a lot of times we'll have those little moments and we think we have to take action on that thing in the moment, when really we need to kind of like notice that it's a signal and take a step back and say, okay, what's going on here in the bigger picture? And my emotions are giving me some little clues and hints of like, got to take a look at something. So let's see, is there anything else I wanted to say? I guess just that, we we don't all have people around us who can hold a container, who can hold space for us around our emotions. And even when we're talking to somebody, sometimes we can like go into a story about our emotions and it's hard just to have them. Um, but especially when we're on our own, a lot of times we can go like, how you like have a thought or a feeling and then you have this sort of story in your head and it goes down this rabbit hole, or it gets attached to like, for me, certain feelings can get attached to where I still like don't feel 100% great about myself, right? Like where I feel bad or feel like I'm not quite enough, or I'm like in this area, I'm not doing everything I want to be doing, or, so it goes into this story and that might kind of pull me into a little hole, right? And I think that's another thing that we all get like a little worried about. Like, I think that's the worry, is that our emotions are going to be too much for us to handle and we're going to go into this hole. And I think that it is important to find other people who can hold space for your emotions and for your feelings and for these things that really need to be figured out. And sometimes it's just someone who can, like my coach really helped me with that discernment about when I needed to make a shift in something and that my emotions were actually like, those triggers were actually a signal to me. So it's important to not be alone with it sometimes. Sometimes we can just have our own space and, have emotions. A lot of times if I need to get out some of the tougher things, the anger or the frustration, I'll go in the car and have a big roar, and that helps. Don't put a story to it, just go and it gets it out. So, and sometimes that's just me by myself. So I don't know. I think that's it. Let's recap. Emotions are human, natural. Your feelings are just okay and natural. And sometimes we have really big feelings and you might need some assistance with those. That's okay too. It's totally fine to have really big feelings and need some assistance with them. And our emotions can be signals that something's not right in our lives and we need to change it. And if we can, and our emotions can help heal from whatever is painful or stuck, like our stuck energy or stuck patterns, and they can be sort of a release of moving that energy. And that's just fine. So, and I'm saying all this from years of practice. I've had years of practice dealing with this and thinking about this and like moving through my own emotions. And I love helping other people do that too when it's appropriate. And it's part of what I do as a life coach. So would love to hear any comments or questions you have. So please feel free to drop me a note in the comments, or if you don't want it to be public in the comments, you are welcome to drop me a private message. I would love to get any questions or comments from you in either form. So that's it for this week. I hope that this has been useful and helpful, and have a great Wednesday, halfway through the week. Some of us have holidays at the end of the week, and I hope you enjoy those with whoever you are with. Have a great one until next time. Peace and love.